Brady. Yes, so I didn't forget to press record this time in the Zoom room. So we are going live inside of our Facebook group right now. So if you are in the Facebook group, come join me over inside of the Zoom room. Truly, that is the best way that you are going to get support because what that's going to allow you to do is to get live, real-time support answering your questions as we go through this material over the course of the next 4 days. And if you don't yet have your workbook, be sure to check your email. We resend it out every single day with the live link to join us in the Zoom room. So it's waiting for you in that same email. You can just click on that, download it. It is going to be pulling up your Abundant Coach Code workbook. This is a brand spanking new one. So even if you've joined me before, definitely grab that because it is going to help you kind of stay on track. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Chris Williams. I am super, super excited to be here with you. I am the best-selling author of The Soulful Abundance System. We actually hit #1 bestseller for women in business in August. So, so exciting. And that is actually what my signature program, Activate Abundance Academy, is all about. So Activate Abundance Academy, I mentioned we've got some of our amazing Activate clients here with us too. That is where we actually do the book, right? So the book is where you get to get the strategy, you get to learn all about how to build a profitable six-figure and boutique business. So what do I mean by boutique? Boutique is that sweet 100K to 500K dollar amount where you can have an amazing business with a very lean team, high profit. So we're talking about high profit, lean team, and also not having to sell your soul or actually burn yourself out. Hey, Vicki, I'm so glad you're here again. And Elise, I'm so glad you're here too. And Miss Jennifer Turner here, another past Activate Abundance client. We're so glad to have you here. So I'm excited to be here with you. I love doing these trainings. And the reason why is because I love to teach. I love to share. I love to give generously. And that is actually what we get to do when we are building heart-centered coaches. Yeah, so the title of my book is called The Soulful Abundance System. Yep. And it is the 6 steps, which I'm actually going to be taking you through over the next 4 days to growing a prosperous six-figure business with purpose, right? So if those of you that are here, if you could just go ahead, pop in the chat with me, give me a heart, give me a yes. How many of you here want to build and grow a heart-centered business? How many of you got into your certification, whether you are a health coach or a life coach or a intuitive coach or a spiritual entrepreneur or an energy worker? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, when you got your certification, the reason why most of us get into this work is to help people live happier, healthier lives. And we want to do that in a way that really aligns with our heart and our soul, right? We don't have to do any wonky or swarmy or spammy things in order to bring new clients on. And so if that's you, I'm exactly where you were probably about 8 to 10 years ago when I first started my business too. I knew that there had to be a different way. I have multiple certifications. Literally, I have 12. I know I shared that. Miss Kara knows. I was sharing in her group today inside of my beautiful friend Jen Reedman. And 12 certifications, right? Starting back in 1993 as a yoga teacher. So I'm not a newbie in the world of entrepreneurships. I actually have over 30 years of experience as an entrepreneur. And not one of my certifications out of all 12 did they teach me how to actually build and grow a business. So if you're feeling the same way, if you're like, oh my God, I loved my certification program, but they really didn't set me up for success on how to actually consistently build a six-figure or a six-figure and beyond business. As a matter of fact, when I got my certifications, even when I went back and got multiple certifications as a master transformational coach, even as a certified business coach, there was a lot of pieces that were missing. Okay. So, and as a matter of fact, as a functional nutritional therapist, I've got a background in that too. I started that in 2015. I had one client the whole year, one. That certainly did not pay for my certification, right? So many of you may be also wanting to like make some money in your business to pay off your debt, pay off your certification, right? Or you're like, you know what? It would just really be good if I started to feel like this was a real business, not just an expensive hobby. I have so many clients that when they first come into my world, they're like, I really just feel like I have an expensive hobby here. My accountant is like, hey, when are you going to start making money? My husband is like, hey, when is this going to start making money instead of actually taking money? And I know that feeling very, very well. After going through a divorce, after being married for 17 years, I had to start all over again back in 2012. I had exactly $100 in my pocket. I had three kids to take care of as a single mom. I had to figure out what it was I was wanted to do. Again, I had been in the wellness industry before, part-time, right? Like a couple yoga classes a week, a couple meditation classes a week. And so I really needed to figure it out. I was like, I'm a no for this taking 10 years. Like, I don't have time for that, right? I have to put food on the plate. I got to pay my bills. I got to figure out how this is going to work. So I really fast tracked it. And I decided, oh, good, Vicky, I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah, I'm here to say that you can do this too. And you can do it without a huge audience. I did not have a big audience. I had a zero audience when I first started. So if you're like, I don't even have an email list or an audience, that's fine. I've got you. You don't need to. Okay. But I am going to teach you ways that you can because there are some very, very specific foundational pieces that we want to get going in our business. And so I'm going to walk you through all of those over the course of the next 4 days. So be sure to be here. And even if you can't make it, like I get it, life happens, but really try to be here live because you're going to get the best benefits when you're here live. But if you can't make it, you can absolutely watch the recordings. We are going to be sending out the recordings every single morning for you so that you can catch up on the replays. We're going to leave them up for 2 whole weeks so that you can return to them over and over again, right? So if you're like, oh my gosh, what did she say again about, my ideal client? What did she say again about pricing? You can go back, you can rewatch those. And if you don't want to watch the video, but you want to listen while you're in the car or while you're on a walk, I have a private podcast that we are putting all of these recordings up onto, so you can do that too. So just be on the lookout for your email every single morning. We're going to send out both. We're going to send you the replay page where you can actually watch the video. We're also going to send you the podcast. So if you're like, yeah, I just want to listen while I'm doing other stuff, you can totally do that too. Okay, so what are you going to need? You're just going to need you close out any other browsers, try to like not multitask while you're here because I don't want you to miss anything. And the first place that I really, really like to start here is just, can I get a commitment from everybody that you're going to do something with this information, right? Like I literally could charge probably about $1,000 or more for the information that I'm giving you here. And information does not equal transformation if you don't do anything with it. So can I get a big C, like a capital C in the chat here that you're going to do something with the information, right? Let's not let it just sit where you're not going to take action on anything. Like we got to take action. We got to do something with the information that we're learning if we want to create anything differently. So I always like to start with that because that means that you're like, yep, I'm going all in. I'm going all in. It doesn't mean you have to do it perfectly, and it doesn't mean that you've got to do everything, but I want you to do something with this information because I want you to create a win. And that is what my intention is for you guys who are here to help others make differences in their lives, right? Happier, healthier, more calm, more peaceful lives. But I also want you to be paid for it too. Okay. I want you to receive for your services. And that's really, really important because if we don't allow ourselves to receive, then we're actually putting a kink in the hose of abundance and we're actually putting a kink in the transformation that we're able to create in the lives of others. Why? Because if we're giving it all away for free all the time, right, then what happens is that there's no skin on the game on them, right? They have no reason to really show up. How do I know that? Because I did that too when I first started. I'm like, well, I'm just going to give it away for free, right? I'm just going to like coach for free. I'm just going to do 1 hour coaching sessions. She's my friend. I'm just going to give it away for free. And you know what ended up happening? They would cancel their call at the last minute. They wouldn't actually follow through on the actions that they were taking because there was no energetic investment. Okay, so I want you to see that when you allow yourself to receive soul, and I want you to think of this like a soulful exchange. It is a give and take. It is both. Like we are allowing them to invest in themselves so that they've got your brain, so that they've got your heart, so that they've got your system and structure. Look, you paid good money to get your certifications. You deserve to be reimbursed for that, right? Absolutely, 1000%. Why would we expect other people to not have to invest in themselves when we're showing up and we're investing in ourselves, right? One day I will add up how much money I spent on 12 certifications, but not today. But we deserve to be reimbursed for that, right? You also deserve to make money in your business to make it a real business. Okay, so there is a difference between a business and a philanthropist, right? Philanthropy is when we give things away, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not a business. That's not a business. A business means you actually have to have paying clients. You actually have to have income coming in. And if you want to have a real business, then you have to allow yourself to receive income for your services. Can I get an amen? Capital A, something in the chat. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? It gets to be a both and. Great. Okay, perfect. Yes, it gets to be a both and. And when we see that it's actually in service to helping somebody get the results that they really want, it actually becomes a whole lot easier. We're going to talk about that actually on day 4 when we talk about making more soulful exchanges and soulful sales and how to do that without feeling like without a salesy weirdo. Okay. But today is all about alignment. And energetic alignment is really, really, really important. As a matter of fact, I have a formula that I share inside of Activated Abundance Academy, and some of you that are here may also have heard me talk about this. The inner game, which is a combination of our mindset, what we think, and the energy that we choose to be in, always comes first. Always. That's what we always start with alignment. Okay. What energy am I choosing to be in? Am I choosing to be in the energy of an empowered 6-figure coach here to change lives? Or am I choosing to be in the energy of this is just an expensive hobby? I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to ask people for money. I'm afraid to invite people to work with me. Look, and it doesn't mean that you can't shift that. We just have to be willing. We have to be aware of where we are and be willing to shift from scarcity, right? Which is, I don't have what it is that I need. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid. I'm scared. Look, totally fine to be fearful. However, fearful is not actually going to build and grow a business. We have to kind of do it afraid anyways, right? We have to say, okay, yes, this feels a little uncomfortable, but it's not because it's hard, right? It's because it's just new, right? So some of this might feel like a little, ooh, I never thought about it that way before. Most things that you learn are new. And so our brain thinks it's going to be really hard or it's going to cost us something, right? But when we are in the energy of being an empowered coach, we are looking at that and saying, yes, and I have such an opportunity to grow here. I have an opportunity to grow. I have an opportunity to step out of scarcity, and we get to get on the abundance train now, right? And the abundance train is where we are all in with being an empowered 6-figure coach here to change lives. And that includes allowing ourselves to change ours too, right? So it's not just about making a 10K month or making a 6-figure year. It's about who are we actually here to serve? Who are we here to serve? What happens when we actually have a paying client and they show up for the calls and they take the actions that we're helping them with? What ends up happening in their life? What is the ripple effect that happens in their life when they start feeling healthier, when they start moving freer, when they start having better relationships, maybe with themselves or with their family, right? That creates a ripple effect. So your work is really, really powerful. And that's really what we're here for. The dollars are actually a side effect when we show up to actually help people get the results that they want. Yes, positive change happen. Absolutely, Vicki. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you because I want to first share with you guys. Is this the right one? Hang on just a minute. I just had it pulled up and now it doesn't even look like it's the right thing. Nope, it's not. I tested this twice, y'all. I'm like, where? I'm like, okay, good. It's going to take me to the right link. And it didn't. So let me go back here and let's see if this works again. Yay, here it is. Okay, so Can everybody see the handout for the Abundant Coach Code? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Fantastic. So we're going to, over the course of the next 4 days, we're going to go through these 6 steps, right? And this truly is the soulful abundance system. Okay. We're going to talk about alignment today. We're going to talk about designing tomorrow. We are going to then jump into attract, nurture, and invite, which becomes our heart-centered marketing and our soulful sales system so that you can gain clarity. You can take a look at what pieces you might be missing. You're going to capture your insights here, but more importantly, we're going to turn what you're learning here into action. Okay. I want you to turn what you're learning here into action. Okay. So when I reverse engineered things that I was doing to build and grow my business, by the way, I didn't start by being a business coach. I honestly, when I first started building and growing my business, I was a health coach and a life coach and a massage therapist. I had no intention of going to business coaching. Okay. And it wasn't that I went into business coaching because I couldn't make money as a health coach or a life coach. I actually already made a 6-figure business and I had people who were asking me what it was that I was doing. And I began sharing that and organically morphed kind of like a hard right turn at Albuquerque, right? Where I'm like, okay, I'll just start sharing what it is that I'm doing. And so I decided that I was going to reverse engineer what was I doing on repeat that was creating my success, right? So number one, the abundant mindset, that's what we're here for. We're going to talk about that today, but mindset is 80% of our success. Seeing the world is working for you, trusting in yourself. You can do hard things. I can guarantee that if I had a conversation with each and every one of you, you could probably tell me 10 hard things that you guys have been through, but you did it and you got through it, right? Having confidence and putting the practices into place to keep you in the game, even when it gets hard, right? As you guys know, building a business is not for the faint of heart. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be emotional roller coasters, okay? But that all that means is that we get to continue to lean in and try something new and be the empowered leader that we are here to be because we have it on our heart to serve. Okay, which leads me to my second pillar, which is serve first. Serving our clients with value is so, so key. And know you guys have been like, seeing a lot of bro marketing out there where it just feels wonky. I want you to know that you can build and grow a very lucrative business. Again, the steps that I'm teaching you today that are based on these 5 core pillars has helped me create over $3 million in my business without pro marketing, without spamming 100 people a day asking them if they want to buy my thing. And it's because it comes from this pillar, serve first. Okay. We want to make sure that we're sharing with our ideal clients value that is actually congruent to the solutions and the results that they want, right? Not what I do, but what is it that they want, right? So building relationships and being generous. I love to talk about the energy of generosity because I think so many times we get into this very kind of tunnel vision where we see that there's only this much, there's one pie. And if I don't get my share, there's not going to be enough, right? Or if someone takes too much, or if I take too much, there's less for somebody else, right? I don't believe in that. I believe in generosity. I believe in what I like to call the abundant bakery. And that means that there's more than enough for everybody. If we run out of one pie, we'll make another, right? We can go back in the bakery at any time, and there is an abundance of clients for you. There is an abundance of opportunity for you. There is an abundance of money and income for you. There's abundance of time freedom for you, right? But we have to believe that and be in the energy of trusting that the value that we put out there and the generosity that we put out there actually comes back to us, which I do. Then we move into number 3, which is actually having a simple, repeatable system. Right? When I first started growing my business, I felt like I was kind of popsicle sticking and duct taping things together. Anybody else feel that way? Where you're like, well, I'm going to download this freebie, right? And I'm going to go to this class. I'm going to watch this webinar, and I'm going to download this course that I don't even finish, right? But no judgment here. I probably have 2 or 3 courses on my computer that I still haven't opened that I probably bought 10 years ago, right? No problem with that. We just have to be, aware that when we are taking multiple things from different places and it's not simple and it's not repeatable, we get overwhelmed, we get into overwhelm, right? And what happens when we get overwhelmed? Our nervous system goes like this, and we check out, and we're like, yeah, I'm not doing that today. It's going to be more fun to put away the dishes and fold the clothes, right? Than it is for me to actually show up and do work on my business, right? So when you have a simple strategy that's repeatable, and when I say repeatable, I mean you've got a simple strategy that you know what to do every day, every week, every month, and every quarter. Okay. So you're not just staring at a blank screen wondering, I don't know what to do today. How do I get a client today? Right? When you've got a simple system, which I'm going to teach you in the nurture method, it becomes easy because now we know what to do. We know what to focus on. We know what the 20% of our time that we have is actually creating 80% of your results. How would that sound for those of you that are like, yeah, but I don't have time, right? I know, Kara, you've got a part-time job. I did too, right? I had 3 kids. They needed to go to soccer games. They needed to go to football games. I still have my massage therapy clients, right? When I was trying to build and grow my coaching business, right? But they're actually, when it's simple, we know what to do. We can show up and it actually allows us to have more time freedom. Okay. So having a simple, repeatable system that is going to allow you to share your message, serve your clients, build your audience, and enroll paying clients so that you can create not just the income, but also the income, the impact that we're here to make is really, really important. So we're not, again, starting over at square one every time. Because every time we start over at square one, oh my God, that is so energy draining. And then we're like, I got to create another offer. I don't know who this is for. I don't know the messaging. I'm a heck no for that. So the next piece is actually the nurture method. And this truly is, one of my specialties. It is heart-centered marketing and soulful sales. Okay. So marketing, by the way, is just simply sharing your message. That's all it is. It's not making a sale. It's not closing the deal. It's not trying to get a client. By the way, I'm a no for all of that. That's not a soulful sale, right? Marketing is simply sharing your message. It's helping your person who can get the best result from you self-identify and say, yeah, that's me. That's all marketing is. All marketing it is. It's just that it has been done in such a way that feels gross that we get scared of marketing or we're afraid that we don't know how to do it, right? Or we might even confuse marketing and sales. Okay. And there is a difference between marketing activities and sales activities. Okay. So I promise I'm going to cover all of that over the course of the next 4 days. Okay. So how do we market? We market by showing up in a way that feels good to us. And there are so many ways that you can get in front of your ideal client and help them self-identify. I'll share some of those. Building relationships, cultivating a community is actually one of my favorite ways. And it's one of the ways that really, really resonates with many of my clients inside of my world. Why? Because it gives people a place to belong and it allows us to cultivate a community of people who are actually looking for the solution that you help them solve, which means that we already have this beautiful community where people have a sense of belonging. And that is kind of where people who are interested in learning more from you have a place to hang out and stay, right? So it's a beautiful place to make people your priority and start building relationships. Nurture events are another way that you get to do this without having to give away those 1-hour discovery sessions, right? Or make sales calls where you're trying to close the deal, right? So attracting, nurturing, and inviting people to work with us, a sale is only about giving somebody an option to take the natural next step with you. And then there is a actual soulful exchange. There's an exchange of energy from you. There's an exchange of energy for them. And there's also an exchange of currency. Okay. So a sale is when the actual side effect of your attraction and your nurturing actually happen, which is beautiful because now we're not marketing and posting and expecting sales from that, because posting on Facebook or Instagram, wherever it is that you are, is actually a marketing event. It's not a sales event, right? So if you guys are thinking, oh my gosh, but I'm doing the thing and I'm showing up and I'm posting and nobody's reaching out to me and nobody's buying my stuff. Well, that's because you're doing a really great job marketing, but you're not actually doing the things that need to happen in order to nurture before you actually invite somebody to buy from you. So we're going to dive into all of this, okay? So the great thing is when you nurture your audience, and give them the natural next step to work with you, they are actually getting what they desire. They're actually getting what they desire. And that's soulful. That feels good and natural and authentic, and it feels in service. Okay. So if that feels good to you, I want you to just give me a heart or a capital S for soulful, because that feels like, wouldn't it be amazing if we could just build and grow our business in a way that when we're inviting people to actually work with us, it just feels soulful, authentic, and in service. And we're just giving them options to take the natural next step. I know that that's what I wanted. The way that I was taught, however, when I first got my transformational coaching certification, was that the way to grow your business was to give away 1 hour discovery sessions. But the discovery sessions were actually sales calls in hiding, right? It was like the intention of that discovery session was to try to build rapport and close the deal, right? And I remember getting a handout that was like, okay, well, this is what you say to close the deal. Your discovery session was actually a close the deal call. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't feel right to me. Like it felt off. It was like two different energies for me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing that. Because here's what happens when you try to close the deal with somebody who's brand new in your world. They either don't show up for the call, they don't know you yet, they don't like you yet, they don't trust you yet. And so what do you hear? No, I can't afford that right now. I need to ask so and so if this is okay, if I can do it. I don't have the time. Like those are all the typical objections that we hear. And objections only come up when somebody doesn't know you, like you, trust you, and believe in the value that they feel that they're going to walk away with. Okay. So I stopped doing those. And when I stopped doing those, my business literally 10x'd, because I no longer felt like I had to try to convince or persuade somebody to work with me on this 1 hour discovery call where I was supposed to try and close the deal and overcome the time objection and overcome the money objection and overcome the I have to ask my partner objection, right? I was a hell no for that, because already that had me in a scarcity energy where I had to try to overpower somebody and get them to say something, get them to do something. And the truth is, and I want everybody to give me an amen if this resonates, we can't make anybody say yes to working with us. Have you ever been able to jump inside somebody's body and make them do anything? I haven't. No. So that's not actually our job. Our job is simply to show up and serve and give value, connect with people, be a real person, and give them their natural next step where they get to decide. I just get to show up. I just get to give people choices. But I am not here to try to make somebody do something, because I can't. That's out of my control, totally out of my control. Okay. So if you're here for all of this, then the next piece is inspired and empowered action, right? So this is actually where implementation happens. And this is what my clients do inside of Activate Abundance Academy, right? They know that without action, no results can happen. But we want the action not to be hustly or salesy or swarmy or fearful or in doubt. We want it to be empowered and inspired action coming from that abundant mindset that I just talked about with you. Because when we're taking inspired action, and I have no idea why my hand is up. That's so funny. I must have raised my hand and Zoom's like, oh, she wants to ask a question. But when we're taking inspired action, what we're doing is we're taking action that feels aligned with our values. Aligned with our values, right? So giving away a 1 hour discovery call to try to close the deal was not aligned with my values. So guess what I did? I would secretly cross my fingers and hope that nobody would show up for the call. I did, swear to God. I would be like, maybe they won't show. Please don't show. And I needed the money. It wasn't like I like, swimming in cash when I first started, right? But here's the thing. That is because it wasn't inspired. It didn't feel aligned for the type of empowered leader that I wanted to show up as, right? And once I stopped doing that and instead got a simple and repeatable heart-centered marketing and soulful sales system in place, that's when things started feeling so much easier and so much better, and definitely all in and heart-centered. So if this sounds good to you, I want you guys to just give me a yes in the chat. If you're here for this, give me a yes. If you're on Facebook, you can just pop that in the comments too. Great. So let's take a look right now, kind of when we're aligning with the empowered six-figure coach. we're going to talk a little bit about what might be, first of all, I want to uncover where you are in your business, right? What is our current reality, right? What's your vision and identity? Because we have to be able to take inspired action with belief, right? Believing that it's possible, right? I had to believe before I could actually have a 10K month or a six-figure business, I had to believe it was possible, right? If I didn't believe it was possible, it's not possible, right? Whether you believe you're right or wrong, it's true, right? So if you believe it's possible, then opportunities open up for you. If you don't believe it's possible, then what you're focusing on is it's not possible and more opportunities that take you in the direction away from where you want to be show up. So where are you right now? If we were to take a look at a pathway, do you feel right now in your business that you're kind of invisible? Maybe you're like at the $0 to 25K a year range. And if that's you, again, there's no judgment here, by the way. There's no shame, there's no blame. We just want to know, where am I? And if you're feeling invisible, just go ahead and pop an I in the chat. I just want to kind of see where the majority of you are so that I can make sure to customize this training for you. Okay, Vicki, starting out. I. Okay, great. If you feel that you are emerging, right? You are at the 25K or the 75K amount. You have a handful of clients, right? But it's not consistent, right? You're definitely not making those consistent 10K months. Give me a capital E in the chat if that's you. If you're like, yeah, I've had a couple good months. I feel like I'm starting to kind of figure out things, right? But it's not consistent. If you are growing, that means that you're getting some things going and you're probably between the 75 to 100K mark. And you're like, all right, I'm making six figures. I see that I've been able to make some 10K months, and now I'm ready to actually move into the scaling component of it, which is where we get to go from 150 to $500,000 in your business, which is more about volume, refining ideal client, refining our offer suite, things like that. So if you're growing, give me a G. And if you're scaling, you're already making six figures and you're ready to go beyond that, but you want to do it in a simpler way, right? You don't want to give up more time. You don't want to give up vacations, right? And by the way, I just wanted to share for those of you that are like, yeah, it must be good for you. I intentionally take every last week of the month off from any forward-facing calls. Every quarter, I go away on retreat. As a matter of fact, Thursday night, after I finish day 4, I'm going away on a retreat for the weekend, solo, just me. So I can decompress, so that I can write, so that I can get inspired, so that I can go hiking in the mountains, right? So if that sounds good to you too, I want you to know that this is absolutely possible to have a business that makes between 100K and 500K and still go on family vacations and still go on quarterly retreats and still take the last week off every month, right? As a matter of fact, I take off my weekends. I do not work around the clock. Okay. So depending on where you are right now, we want to get clear on what feels unclear for you right now in your business or overwhelming. Okay. I want to just create some clarity here. Are you unsure what to price your programs? It sounds like the majority of you that are here are just starting. You still feel a little invisible. I don't see anybody here who is emerging or growing or scaling. Okay. So what feels unclear, overwhelming for you to go from invisible to emerging, where you're making 2 to 5K a month? What feels unclear or overwhelming for you? I want you to jot that down. And I also want you to pop that in the chat for me. Okay, that's going to give me some good information so that I can make sure that I teach into that when we move into tomorrow around your pricing and your programs, and then on day 3 around attraction, nurturing, and inviting. So what feels unclear? Is it that you're not sure where to find clients? You're not sure who the best client is for you to serve? You're unsure about your messaging. Maybe you're not even sure like where to show up or how to attract somebody new into your ecosystem. Maybe you're unsure of what to do once they come into your ecosystem. Maybe you don't have an ecosystem yet, right? Maybe you're like, nope, I don't have an email list and I don't have a community, so I really don't know where to send people. Or maybe you're unsure how to actually invite people to work with you in a way that feels calm in a way that feels in service. So, what's popping up for you guys? I really want to know, and I'm just going to take a few moments so that you can think about that. And then please pop it in the chat for me so that I can understand more about what's feeling unclear or overwhelming for you so that I can teach to it. Okay, great. Where to find clients without spending a lot of money? Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, you do not need to spend money in order to find clients. This is all organic. We are not going to spend a single cent out of your business on ads or investing in other things that are not revenue generators into your business. Okay. Offerings. Have clients that work with me on a regular basis. So, Meryl, is that you're unsure of your offerings because you don't have clients working with you on a regular basis, or you want to add more?
No, I'm very sure about where, I want to work, like what clients I want to work with.
Yep.
I know my focus,
Mm-hmm.
but unfortunately, I signed up for Success Studio and then went into a crazy upheaval in my life, and I'm
Yeah.
starting over in the new year.
Okay. Yeah.
And I
And
I don't know.
and you don't know what to offer them. So you're unsure about what your offer suite is. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No problem. Great. Yeah, we do want an offer suite. We're going to talk about that. By the way, tomorrow we're going to help you build out your offer suite with a high ticket, mid ticket, low ticket offer. So, Emma, if you're like, yeah, I can't see how anybody's going to actually pay for it, right? To be accepted by prospective clients. And here's what I want to say: you have to accept first the value and the integrity of your high ticket offer in order for somebody else to buy it. We cannot wait for somebody else to say, oh, that's an amazing deal. Yes, I want it, before we believe in it. Not going to happen. So if we are second guessing our pricing and we are saying, oh, nobody's going to buy this, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to get crickets. Absolutely. So instead, yeah, well, if you know the value of yourself, then what we get to do, Emma, and I'm not saying, the value of you, but here's the thing: we want to have an offer suite because some of your people are going to want high ticket. Some people are going to want mid ticket. Some people are going to want lower ticket. So it just means that if you've tried a couple of times and the answer is crickets, you're either not talking to the right client, right? Or you're not giving them other options that are going to give them a place to start with you before they're ready to move into that high ticket. Okay. Yeah. So it's either we're not in front of the right client or we're not saying the right thing, which is actually a beautiful thing because we can fix both of those. Right? That's great. That is within our control. We can't say 10 people are going to buy I'm going to make 10 people say yes. We can't do that. But we can do is make sure that we're speaking to the right ideal client and communicating and messaging the value of it. But it all starts first. We have to value it. So it sounds like you value it. Great. You know the value yourself. Great. And there are more than enough people that absolutely want to invest in your high ticket offer. Now, that is a thought that we want to get on repeat 51% of the time. There are more than enough people that I could possibly handle who absolutely want this level of support in my high ticket offer. Okay. There's also some people out there that are going to want to start at a mid ticket, and there's going to be some people that just want to dip their toe in the water and just have an intro offer. Great. And Kara, we're absolutely going to help you with an intro offer too. Yeah. So if you have a 3, 6, and 12 month, but no intro offer, it sounds like you actually have three high ticket offers, but not a mid ticket and a low ticket. And I'll tell you what the difference is tomorrow when we get into that. Okay. So we do want to have a high ticket offer. And here's the truth, you guys. If your coaches a a average 90-day program in 2015, we're talking about 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, was $3,000. $3,000. That's in 2015. That's an average 3-month program 10 years ago. Okay. Your high ticket offer, you're probably just unsure how to make it irresistible. You're probably unsure what to put in it and communicate that in a way that has your person thinking, oh my gosh, if I don't get in on this now, like This is just a no-brainer. Okay. So, Barbara says, how to attract potential clients that are willing and able to pay. Many in your ecosystem are chronically sick and struggling financially. Yeah. So, Barbara, this is about making sure that your ideal client is capable and willing, right? We cannot build a business with somebody who's not capable of investing in themselves or willing to do anything about the problem. They have to be both. They have to be both, right? We can talk until we're blue in the face, but if they're not capable of making an investment, then you get to give them options to support them, either in a maybe it's a high value, high converting lead magnet, maybe it's in a community, and you get to support them there until they are willing to come up with the money. And I will tell you this, I don't believe that people are not financially able to make an investment that's important to them. Now, yes, if they're homeless, of course, they need help getting their, meals and getting a house over their head and all of that. Okay. But even homeless people and drug addicts find the money to pay for their drug habit. Okay. As a matter of fact, there was a story on the news several years ago, and this is why it's resonated with me. She had a $75,000 a year drug habit. She had no house, but she had how do you think she came up with $75,000? She made a decision that that drug was important to her, and she figured out how to make the money to get it, right? So we are either being bought into a story that they can't figure it out for themselves, or we get to be empowered leaders to say, I'm happy to help you try to figure this out, but you have to be willing to actually make the change. And if this is important enough to you, there are multiple ways that you can find the money for it. And each and every one of you here has done the same thing. I know that there have been things that you at first glance were like, I can't afford that. But because it was important to you, you found a way to do it. I had to do it when I invested in my first business coach. I said yes to a $10,000 program, and I had $100 in my bank account and 3 little ones to feed. I had to figure it out. I could have said, nope, I'm not financially able to do that, which could have been true to my logical brain. But I said, no, I'm going to figure it out. Why? Because it's important to me and I don't have time to waste. I don't have time to waste. I was 45 years old. Not that that's old. I'm 58 now, right? But if I need something, I'm going to figure it out, right? And your clients can do the same thing. You can do the same thing too. You guys have done it over and over and over again. You just have done it in different ways, right? You want to go on a vacation, but you don't feel like you've got the money, right? You figure it out. How are you going to do it? All right. And that's what I had to do when I first enrolled in my business coach. Yeah. So yeah, when exactly, Emma, by focusing on accepting clients that see themselves as poor, you are multiplying that client. You're trying to rescue them versus empower them to come up with what it is that they need. And there is a huge difference there. And I have to tell you that that one investment that I made with my business coach, even when my bank account said no, is why I'm here today with you and why I created over $3 million in my business. Because guess what I had to step out of? Victim mode. Victim to my bank account. Victim to, I don't know how to do this. Victim to, that's irrational. Victim to, I don't have time. I've got this massage therapy business going. How am I going to do this? I had to stop being a victim to outside circumstances and be the empowered leader that we're talking about here today in alignment and say, this is what I want. This is a heart-centered yes for me. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to come up with the money, but I'm willing to figure it out. I'm willing to figure it out. And I'm capable and I'm smart. And I believe that I can actually do this. And I believe that I can actually do this because I have a coach that is holding me as capable and going to help me do it. And it is only because she held me as capable that I said, yes, here's $100 to my yes. Like literally, that's all I had. And I had to figure out how I was going to come up with the next month payment. And I said, how am I going to do it? What are ways that I could actually come up with $1,000? And I made a list. Some of the things worked, some of them didn't. And I kept trying. And I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to start a group program. I am going to start it with 5 people. It's going to be 6 weeks. I'm going to charge $200. Within a week, I had manifested, and actually, I don't want to say manifest. I don't even like that word. That sounds like I wove a magic wand and magically it appeared. I actually did something. I invited people to explore whether or not they wanted to work with me in this 6 week program that already knew me, liked me, trusted me, and created $1,000. Now, my bank account said no, but guess what I just created? $1,000. By the end of 6 months, I had created $100,000 in my business because I kept going. And I said, okay, if I can create $1,000, I can certainly create 5,000. And if I can create 5,000, I can certainly create 10,000, right? And I kept moving forward, implementing the system that I'm going to teach you over the course of the next 4 days. Okay. But the first thing that needed to happen was I had to believe in me. I had to step into that energy of being an empowered coach and saying, I can do this and I'm worthy of it. And I'm going to allow myself to receive because guess what? I've spent all of this money going out and now it's my turn to serve and support people, helping them create the lives that they want to create and also get the support that I needed so I could stop popsicle sticking and duct taping things together and actually know what it was that I needed to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis to grow my business. Okay. So that was a different version that I had to step into that I had not been in before. Right. I didn't. I had to decide. And this is what I want you guys to decide today that you are already an empowered six-figure coach and you can absolutely do this. And when we step there, then guess what? Then the how opens. So if your brain is like, yeah, but I don't know how. That's not the important part right now. The important part is that you are allowing yourself to believe it's possible, that you are allowing yourself to believe in you, in your power, that your work is important, and who is the version of you that you are going to identify with who creates consistent clients in 10K months, right? So I want you to take a moment there and I want you to think about that, right? What does she believe about herself, her work, her business? What are the thoughts that she's like, heck yeah, I can do this. I can figure this out. Heck yeah, I've done hard shit before. I can do hard again, right? Yes, I believe that I'm valuable. I believe that this business is here to change lives. If you believe that's true, then guess what? You are taking on the identity of somebody who is consistently bringing new clients on and taking the action steps on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to continue that. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute and I want you to see yourself celebrating that you have created a $10,000 month. And you're like, holy crap, I did it. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's in my bank account. Like I can see the dollar sign with the 10,000. There's $10,000 there. Holy cow, I did it. What do you think the version of you that created that thinks about herself? What do you think the version of you who has consistent clients reaching out to her, what do you think she feels and thinks about her work? What do you see herself telling herself? That's the identity that we get to start from because that's the identity that and the energy that's the energy that we're in. I'm an abundant coach. Clients are on their way. I can figure it out. That's energy and mindset. That's the inner game. Anything else that you learn that I teach you with strategy is going to work better when you start there, right? Versus, I don't know, people aren't going to pay for it. I can't find clients. This isn't really going to work. I've tried to do this for years. What do you think happens from that energy? More clients that can't pay for it will come into your world. Evidence will come into your world that supports that and things not changing. Right. I'm not going to invest in my business until I make the money. I'm not going to actually get the support that I need. Instead, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I need to figure it out on my own. Look, the truth is, we don't figure it out on our own. I'm just going to be fully honest. I didn't figure it out on my own. I still invest in a business coach to this day. Okay. We need to do this together, just like your clients need your support. We all get to be an empowered coach that also allows ourselves not just to receive financially, but also to receive the support that we need too. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself today, what are you going to let go of? Right? Because once we see where we're holding ourselves back, once we notice that we're on the scarcity train, we have to actually stop and let go of it and say, I am a no for this. I am a no for believing that somebody can't afford this if it's important to them. I'm a no for giving away all of my coaching for free without actually letting there be a soulful exchange of energy. I'm a no for continuing to put these thoughts on repeat that I don't know what to do and I don't know where to find clients. Okay. And even though those thoughts feel real right now, I guarantee you that it's a thought and not a fact. How do I know that? Because it would have to be true for everybody on the planet if it was a fact. And I know where to find clients. So it's not a fact, it's a thought. And if you were in a court of law, here's another way to check facts versus thoughts. If you were in a court of law and the judge said to you, you are going to go away to jail for the next 20 years unless you can tell me two places where you could find a client. I guarantee you would come up with two people, two places. Well, I guess I could look here and I could look here. Okay, so that means that's a thought, not a fact. Okay, so we have to stop putting on repeat the thoughts that are creating the situation and the circumstance that we're in. So Meryl's like, I'm a no for being invisible. Absolutely, our people have to find us, right? We have to be a yes first, right? So Meryl might be like, I'm a yes for not being invisible. I'm not sure what to do, but I'm a yes. Great, perfect, right? I'm a yes for, bringing on clients that are willing to do something about their problem and capable of it. I'm not sure what to do yet, but I'm going to be a yes for that. Great. That is when we make the commitment first, then the how can open, right? It's kind of like riding a bike. I love to use analogies. You guys are going to probably be sick of my analogies by the end of the 4 days, but I love to use analogies. When we first learned how to ride a bike, we didn't know how. And we didn't say, oh, I don't know how, I'll never be able to ride a bike. We had to commit first to say, I am going to learn how to ride this bike. Mom and dad are going to be there. They're going to support me. But guess what? I'm getting on the bike and I'm going to pedal. We had to get on the bike and do something. We didn't know how, but we had to take action to figure it out, right? Yes. Oh, good. I'm glad you like them, Vicky. Yeah. And guess what? We probably fell and skinned knees and elbows. I know I did. I know my middle child actually would, run into our fence every once in a while. Okay. But that doesn't mean that we're never going to learn how to ride a bike. It just means that we haven't figured it out yet. It just means we haven't learned how to balance yet, right? And that is what you guys are going to learn too, right? So let go of the I can't, let go of I don't know how, and instead step into that empowered version of you. Okay, so I want to ask you today, what aligned action will you take after today? Maybe that is just coming up with one positive belief that you can step into and claim and be an empowered six-figure coach, right? Maybe that looks like there are more than enough people here that I can solve, that I can serve. I'm going to give you several that you guys can try on. Okay. One of them for me is now is actually the perfect time for people to have support to build and grow their business because look at how many people are being certified and they're not being taught how. There are more than enough coaches out there who want to build and grow a heart-centered business. There's more than I can possibly handle, right? Actually, there's more than I want. I don't want thousands. When we open up enrollment into our Activate Abundance Academy, I typically only open up 10 to 15 spots because they get my brain and my heart with them in their business. Okay. And I can't do that with 100 people or 1,000 people. So I don't want that. Okay. Emma says she's going to start every day thinking of yourself as a successful six-figure coach. Amen. Amen, sister. Yes. And here's something else that I did. This was just a little trick that I did. Inside of my phone, I had an alarm that went off every single day that said January is a 10K month. And then what is this? So lower my hand. Okay, Zoom is telling me it's going to lower my hand. I would say January is a 10K month. And then in February, I would change it to February is a 10K month. And then in March, I would change it to March is a 10K month. I read that every single morning. It's not, I wish I could have a 10K month. It's no, this is a 10K month. Guess what happened at the end of 6 months? Yes, 10K months consistently. Actually, I ended up creating over 100K after 6 months, but it had to have that be on repeat in order for me to have consistent 10K months, right? So, what would you like to create? And what can you own as, yeah, I'm an empowered six-figure coach. It's on its way. Another way to think of this is I like to think about Amazon energy. Amazon, like actual ordering something from Amazon, not the Amazon Goddess Warriors, although that could probably work too, right? When you place an order on Amazon, it doesn't magically appear right away, but you're also not worried about whether it's coming to you, right? You place the order and you're like, can't wait to see what it is. Can't wait to see when I get it. Right? Might get here tomorrow, you're not worried about whether the UPS driver is sick. You're not worried about whether or not the package is going to arrive or not. That is the type of energy that I want you to embrace as an empowered six-figure coach. It's on its way. I'm excited to see when it happens. I can't wait to see all the clients I get to serve. This is so cool. I can't believe I get to do this work. Oh my gosh, isn't that amazing? Right? Now, think exactly, Vicky, faith, right? Trust and faith. Now, when you think about that, how does that feel in your body? Oh my gosh, there's people on their way already. I can't wait to see who they are. Doesn't that feel open and more spacious and more expansive? Right. That is the energy or the frequency that is going to call people into your ecosystem. Yeah. So Kara says, I believe there are more than enough people that can benefit from your heart-centered coaching. Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if we don't see it right away. Yeah. Had a sticky note. Charlotte said, my daily planner that said, keep moving forward. It helped you reach your goals. Yeah, absolutely. And we have to give ourselves a reason to believe. And so here's one last thing before we pop off for tonight. I know we're coming up to the end. And that is, what happens if people don't find your work? What happens if people don't find you? Do they suffer? Yeah. What happens when they do? How does their life change when they find you? When they actually get the support that they need and the love that they get from you, they get the love, they get the support, they get the steps, and they actually create a transformation. What happens then? That's the ripple effect that you're going to take. And when you come back to this is the why under the why, right? This isn't the why because I want a 10K month. This is because when I help more women build and grow their businesses, that creates ripple effects in the world. And when women have more money and are financially secure, that changes our world. That changes our world. Women invest in communities more, women give back more. I want more women to feel financially empowered because it not only changes their life, it changes their family's life, and it changes our world collectively. Okay. When I was a health coach, my why was, oh my gosh, we have an obesity epidemic in our children. This is not okay with me. My work is important because I want people to be better models, not only for themselves, but for children. That's going to change the world. And if I don't show up and help them, what's going to happen? Right? I don't have to, change 50,000 people's lives. I just get to show up and change the people who are here and ready and willing now. And that's the same for you. So I really want to invite you today to think about how does your work, what's your why? Why is it important? Why is it important? And your homework today is going to be to write that down and then post it inside the Facebook group. Because this is the deeper why that is going to allow the clients and the income to come as a side effect of you. Because when you believe in that work and you believe in your why and you believe that it's valuable and you believe that it's changing lives, we are not going to abandon people on Pain Island, right? If we don't believe it's valuable, if we don't believe it's important, if we give into our fear and we make it all about us, what we're really saying is that I don't have enough courage to take somebody out of their pain and invite them to a better life and a better experience. Okay. So I'm going to end with that because that feels high vibe. And I always like ending on high vibe. I always want you guys to walk away feeling inspired and not just inspired, but empowered. Okay. So again, I would love if you guys could just take 5 minutes. Why is your work important? Who's like, what happens when people find you? And just go into the Facebook group and post that. You're welcome, Charla. Yeah, yeah. And if you are watching the replay, go do that. Still do it. I want you in there. Okay. Tomorrow, come back because we're going to be talking about your six-figure offer suite. So, Kara, I'm going to help you with that. We're going to talk about why we need it, but we're also going to talk about a six-figure signature system. I call it our signature framework. Okay. So, we're going to create a six-figure offer suite for you. But we also need a signature system, right? So my signature system, as you guys know, is a soulful abundance system. It's my 6-step process that I use to help people create their first six figures and create a boutique business that goes up between 100 to a half a million. This is the system that helps people get there. We need to have a system, framework, pathway, code, something that becomes the hero of our work. And I'm going to teach you how to do that tomorrow as well. So it's going to be a big day tomorrow. So come back here. If you can't make it because something else is going on, either try to change it and be here live. If you can't be here live, definitely make sure that you click on the link that we send you, which is going to take you to the replay page. Okay. So today's recording is going to be uploaded this evening on our page, and we'll make sure that you have it. If you're inside the Facebook group, I will go ahead and post the link to the replay page so that you can come on over there and you can grab that, okay? All right, ladies, I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Have a great evening.